Hello, Reset Women. This is Lynn, and I'm the founder of Divine Reset. This is our inspiration series. I'm very excited. I have met so many people, and I'm so honored to have one person that has touched me. I've only spent just a short time with her about a month ago. I met our guest in Sedona at a very special event called Soul Treat. And we resonated with each other. There's such a great connection, and I knew that I wanted to have her as one of our guests for our inspiration series. And I'm honored because she completely embraces the mission of Divine Reset, being a woman herself and having her share of trials. She understands that there's more to life than just the trials, and it's necessary to make adjustments because of those trials so that you can live and you can thrive in this life. And I'm so honored to have Manuela Rohr here.
Hello.
And she is, she has a wealth of knowledge. She's a yoga teacher. She also practices Phoenix Rising yoga therapy, and she'll explain a little bit of that. She's the mother of a daughter that is a high-functioning autism. She has autism, and that has its share of challenges. And there are a lot of women I know that can relate with a child, and in Manuela's case, also a spouse who is not in a normal situation. And so she has a lot of experience. And I'm very honored and grateful that we have you here today. Manuela, will you please just tell us a little bit more about you and what makes you you?
Yeah, I will. And thank you, Lynn, for welcoming me so warmly. Hello, everybody. Yes, my name is Manuela. That's how Lynn already introduced myself or introduced me. And I have like about 30 years of experience, or a little bit over 30 years of experience with the practice of yoga and transformational yoga practice, coming from my Phoenix Rising yoga therapy background. And that is kind of interesting to know. Phoenix Rising yoga therapy is a combination of yoga, Buddhism, psychology, and neuroscience. In the Phoenix Rising yoga therapy approach, we work and practice and inspire us to work moment to moment awareness, to work with moment to moment awareness, so we can learn what it means to embody mindfulness. How do we live a mindful life in everything we do? And how can we always come back to the mindful moment when we are in our life and we are triggered and we are challenged and we have not had such an easy time with it. So working with these modalities has given me the tools, and I learned them before my daughter was born. Thank you that I could learn them before my daughter was born, because they helped me to survive a tragic time in my life when my daughter was born weighing 1 pound and 15 ounces. She was born a micropreemie at 24 weeks gestation, so she was 4 months too soon, and I did not know she would be coming soon. I was not prepared for that. And we spent 6 months in the hospital trying to keep her alive, and that's how my whole journey into healing graved itself into my life. It's kind of embracing me because my daughter lives with us. She survived, and she still lives with us because it's not easy to find a home for her, because she is high functioning, genius in a way, but not able to live alone because she has no time managing skills. She loses time the moment she looks at the clock and knows it's 10 o'clock. She loses that it's 10:01 and she needs to go. That's how you can imagine how a life like this is run, and how a life like this cannot be lived alone. Even so, this young woman, who's my daughter, thinks she can live alone. So my challenge with this is that I have like a teenager who rebels rules, and a young 18-year-old woman who wants to get wings and fly out and have boyfriends and all of that, and a life on her own. She wants to go to college. She wants to live a life on her own and make money, but she doesn't have the skills. And now she's 29 and still lives at home and needs to kind of be guided by me or by us, my husband and me. And we are, I want to say, on a daily basis, the last few years have created daily toxic stress around that, because there is no saying, go to your room, what you could have done to a smaller child, or don't say that right now. Sarina is the one why I'm teaching about boundaries, and that's what we are talking about in a moment. My daughter, on the autism spectrum, like I said, she does not have any boundaries. She doesn't understand, feel, or know about boundaries because she does not know where she starts and where she ends. We learn that when we have a healthy birth, when we go as a baby through the mother's womb. If we are pushed out, ideally, we learn that there are boundaries, there are walls that we pushed through. We have felt that, our body remembers that. And my daughter didn't have that. On top of that, being born with 1 pound 15 ounces, she was way too small to take any other information in that this pretty traumatic life gifted her with when she was in the incubator and was on a respirator for more than 4 months. And then after that, she was 2 years on oxygen at home because she couldn't manage her oxygenation in the lungs really well. So she does not have boundaries. And that means she intrudes into mine at any given moment. Signs on the door would say, don't enter or knock. She reads them and walks away because she understands that. But then she walks back and doesn't look at the sign and walks in. And that's a true struggle. And I know most of us know that we have some boundary challenges in life as we grow. And I like to go to that now, telling you about what I do about creating healthy boundaries for myself. And I want to say, not because I had them once, will they be with me tomorrow? It's like a practice. It's like a practice of breathing mindfully, walking mindfully, practicing if you are a yogi, or whatever your love is, of whatever you do in your life to be well. It only works when we practice, right? If I go on a walk once a month and get all the oxygen of the trees into my lungs, it's not enough for the whole month. We basically have to find ways of how we fill ourselves up on a daily basis, and that's called practice. And so it's true for boundaries. I want to begin with this, like as we age, as we go through life and our life situation changes, boundaries change. What was maybe a challenge when the child was young, and if you have children, to be sure where you start and teach the child where it goes, and you let the child go and it moves on. It is the same in any relationship we have, if it's with our spouses or partners, if it's with our neighbors or with the general public we deal with, or the boundaries we have with what's going on in the big world. And boundaries, if you think about in the physical world, outside, when you look, if I just look to the left, I see a wall that divides this room from the next room. I see a door. If I go outside, you might see fences or trees or cars. There are physical objects that create a boundary between you and what's next. Like my neighbor has a fence and I know he begins over there and he knows I start here. So whatever we do with this, we understand this. This is a boundary. With us, as the human being, we don't have visible boundaries unless we show it in gestures, in, going in and saying, leave me alone. But that's actually when it's gone too far. I hope we can work on letting us never shrink because we haven't understood where we begin and where we end. But if that happens, because we are human, right, and things happen in life and we sometimes shrink, on the opposite end, we might be more the extroverted person and we are always out there. We have to learn the balance in between. Where do I begin and end? And as a woman now, not a child anymore, I mean, now everybody listening here is in an adult stage. what is in my life that triggers my boundaries? Is it me not speaking up when I should? Have I not learned to speak and stand for myself? Is it that I'm on a helper syndrome and I'm always reaching out to the world and help everybody, only to come home at night feeling exhausted and kind of saying quietly or maybe out loud, depending on what temperament you have, how exhausted you are because you have been giving all day? Have you received at all, and what did you do to receive is a question to ask. And we understand that when we can start feel boundaries around us, and that's embodying boundaries, that comes from the practice I teach. When And that's not a practice where you have to at all think about standing on your head or being some type of a pretzel pose or whatever people think about yoga. That's not what it is. If that is what you can do, fine, but it's not what you need. All you need is to learn and have the willingness to feel yourself in space. Like simply if I stretch my arms out or I put my hands on my shoulders and I swing a little bit around. Well, my thing back there, that gives us a better views in the way. If I make swings like this, or if I stretch my arms out, I do movements, I teach movements like this, where we swing, which has many wonderful benefits, but we can draw boundaries around ourselves by imagining, let's say as an example, we have crayons on our fingertips. Imagine that. And you are circling around yourself. There's more to it, but just for the ease of understanding, you circle around yourself and imagine the color of your choice of these crayons draws a circle around you. In the teaching I do, we learn to embody that circle. I'm standing or I'm sitting now in the center of my circle. I don't have to see it, but as I have practiced it and as I have put my awareness into this circle, I can feel it. I can visualize it. And a beautiful thing is you can learn to breathe into your circle, not just where I'm showing you. To receive a full breath is a practice, means you're filling your body up with the inhaling breath, front, side, and back. That needs to be practiced. And it's not difficult. It's just something we have to understand, then we put it into action. And when we have that skill of understanding where our body moves and where we draw a physical boundary that only we can see, and then fill that boundary we have drawn with the inhaling breath, we have two helpers already. And there's more, but we stick to these two helpers we have that we can rely on. When I go out of the door, and my daughter, I can promise you, she triggers me the moment I come out, because I can say, Sarina is her name, I'm on my way to the refrigerator, don't ask me anything right now because I'm on a call or whatever I say. The moment I come back, she's at me. She doesn't understand that. She says, I'm sorry, and she didn't mean to, but she interrupts my flow all the time. And when I'm in contact with her, she's totally never in her space. She's always in my space or in someone else's space. I can stand there, noticing this, feel the boundary I have drawn around me, breathe energy and light and color into these boundaries, and that protects me from her coming in. It really does. And on the other hand, if it's not about my daughter, if I have this boundary in place, it protects me from going out being that ever-present helper in my life that sees things that need help, and I reach out. And as I want to do that, I don't want to do it when it's not needed, and I don't want to do it when I'm already tired. Then I need to protect myself in my boundary, with my breath, and with my being present to myself. That's more important than reaching out when I'm already exhausted. But as we know, if I'm exhausted and tired at night, how do I want to help anybody? It's impossible. That's full blown out then. I mean, not blow out, it's a burnout. We are burning away the beautiful skill we have to offer help to the ones we love and to the ones who need us by not doing sacred self-care is what I like to call that. Sacred self-care has to do with boundaries, has to do with breath, has to do with filling yourself up first. And when I have sacred boundaries, I'm in agreement with myself. I practice self-love, which is for me the most important skill to own. A true self-love, because you are in charge of how you live your life. A big muscle that forgives, because we fail every day a few times. I fail with all of what I'm teaching to you or speaking to you, which I really own and embody. But the triggers come and bang. And I go back and think, where did my intention go? I go back, and that's truly beautiful, and understand that I'm a human being just like everybody else.
Yes.
Right? And I can go and say, all right, this didn't work out. Can I fulfill my cup now and say, sorry, didn't mean to, next time I try better? And I have teachers in my life who have taught me to say, fail better next time, fail again, fail better next time. And knowing that this is a lifelong process, we will probably practice it till we die, till we pass on. But what I can share, and I forgot to look at the time, if I'm going over time, let me know.
Yes, we do. Do you want to finish that last thought?
I finished the last sentence. What I do know and what I find so inspiring, and that's why I burn to teach what I do. I burn to share it with everybody who navigates a bumpy road in life. And it means if I practice this, if I make it, if I own this practice, what I'm sharing, I fail, but I bounce back quicker. I notice when things go wrong, and I can go back and come to myself and hug myself and say, okay, next time I try better. It doesn't take me a day or 4 weeks to get there. I do it basically by walking through a door. And then I go out of the door and come back to what I understand of how my boundaries are, how I want to live my life. Basically, I have so much more to say, as you can tell.
You know what? I think this is so important because you really honor yourself. I think oftentimes, and in our role as a woman, we have a lot of hats we wear.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us are mothers, wives. We have jobs. We volunteer. We have dreams. And there's so many hats, and we think we can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, really have to honor ourselves and create the space that will bring us safety.
Yeah.
Because
space.
We will die.
Mm-hmm.
We will slowly die. And we will never be what our potential is. Yeah. We never will be.
I so agree with that, because I feel the beauty in the potential we have as women, if we honor it, like you said. I think to honor, I would only highly agree with that word. To honor is to know what's true,
mm-hmm.
In the moment. And then that is how we can serve the world. And this is really how I believe we can change the world.
Absolutely. We have so much. And that is why Divine Reset is here, because women, especially mothers and the generations that they are influencing now, that's everything. That's our future. So for people that want to contact you, Manuela, where do they go? I will also type it in, but can you please just tell us real quickly?
Yeah, I have several ways you can contact me. I'm also a writer. I'm a passionate writer, and I'm writing blogs, and I'm writing a newsletter every week, an inspirational Wednesday Whisper. I just finished one that actually talks always about something around these issues we have. So my website is www.manuela.rohr, where I have my blogs on, my online teaching schedule. I'm teaching now online. And it's beautiful. Last week, 2 days of last week was boundaries. And it was the most visited class. And it was a session. And it's like, it touches everybody, no matter the age and wherever they are from. I had people from Germany join. I'm German and I'm in California. This was so amazing. And we worked an hour. We practiced an hour together, how can we establish our boundaries? And no one leaves a class or a session without at least one skill you already own. So I do this, so you can do it in reading what I do. You can join my classes. I'm offering new classes coming up in January. Sessions, 8-week sessions, 4-week sessions, and brand new, you might like that, I hope, is friendship sessions. You can create a group of people you want to work with, practice with, and ask me if I teach it for you, and I will. And we find themes. Like I'm planning a 3 to 4 week boundary session in January for the public, because it takes that long, because I can bring so many more knowledge and so much more wisdom into my work around boundaries, like from the chakras view.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a few hours to understand that. So this is something where I'm thrilled. I think if a few women get together and say, hey, when do we have time? Can we match and find a teacher? And then we want to do 3 weeks or 4 weeks of finding our edge, finding out how do I discern, how do I choose, how do I accept, how do I love my body is actually how it begins. I have an 8-week session. It begins with how do I love my body, and the boundaries must be there because we are having to embody the boundaries. So I
that's
think
wonderful.
and I have one other beautiful thing I made. I'm writing on a book. It's called 365 Tiny Islands. Not done yet, but I created a little ebook that holds 11 islands. That's my passion too. Tiny islands are moments you pause in your day, from 1 minute, from a breath, 1 minute to 10 minutes to practice sacred self-care. So the 11 islands are 11 of them that I find highly stimulating and highly and they are helping. So you find them on my
Fantastic.
website too.
Well, I will definitely put those links if you would like to pass them on to me, and I will share them with the group.
Yeah, I share them with you, and then I'd love to work with you or speak to you or answer questions and support you in this. Together is bigger than one, right?
Yes. Manuela, thank you so much. The journey that you have been given hasn't been easy, and you've turned it in a way that you've risen above and you're helping other people, and I applaud you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for, I'm honored that you spoke to me and asked me if I can share my passion with you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
God bless.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.